Hello, Sandwich. This is Dr. Gould checking in with episode number 2 of our podcast series that we're going to be doing this year. If you did not have the opportunity to see our first one, I shared that I'm going to be doing a series of podcasts over the course of the year, mostly centered around teaching and learning. But we thought with the beginning of school and a lot of the work that's been done in our buildings, we'd start with our first 2 episodes with Jay McGrail, our Director of Facilities. In episode 1, he spent a lot of time talking about the safety and security upgrades that we went through in our building. And this episode, I asked him to come back to do a little bit more of the cosmetic side of things because I think the kids noticed a lot of changes coming in, the visual changes that you see in a building. I keep joking with people in town that we can't give kids the brand new buildings. We don't need brand new buildings, but every kid deserves to be in a building that looks as new as possible and has as many as the modern amenities as any other new building around. So, Jay, thank you for coming back again.
No problem.
So why don't you share a little bit, beyond the, again, safety and security upgrades, what was done to, in and amongst each of the buildings with regard to our facilities?
Yeah, so we've had a really productive last 6 months in the facilities department. It was
Didn't you start in April, by the way?
I started in April, yeah.
Welcome to the job.
We got a lot done, though. So I guess first and foremost, it starts with the town approving a new, this is the second year we've got, is additional funding through the capital budget of $125,000 a year for maintenance money that they allow us to use.
Pretty generic we could do.
Yeah, and it gives us flexibility to spend that how we want.
Right.
And my predecessor chose some larger capital issues that he wanted to address with that. And when I looked at how I wanted to spend it and what I thought was important, I went back to what you just mentioned, cosmetics. I felt like a lot of as a parent in the district and somebody that's in the buildings all the time, I go to a lot of events at these schools, and it's clear to me, aesthetics is something that we had been lacking in. And although we have some deeper issues that we need to deal with over the course of time, I wanted to invest in making the schools look aesthetically pleasing and deal with some of
the first impression as people come into our campus.
Yep, and deal with some of the things that the teachers deal with on a day-to-day basis too, to make the teaching and learning experience a little bit better for them, for the students and the teachers. So what I focused on in my first 6 months is primarily painting. That was something that had been, a lot of these buildings hadn't been painted in the last probably 20 years.
I know.
Interior and exterior.
Right.
So when I contracted with a company, and we looked at the high school. We looked at the front entranceway.
Yes.
Well, when you first walk in.
Huge.
So that was interior painting. We repainted the columns. We repainted all the walls in the entranceway. We painted, we got rid of what was 3 different colors and chose just the blue night blue.
And none of them were blue night blue.
Yeah, I think that we got a deal on some paint.
Mauve and green, I think.
When they did the renovation in early 2000. So we got rid of all that and cleaned it up. We worked with Principal McKay to come up with a color scheme of what he wanted, what his vision was of students coming into the building, and it made a dramatic effect. Between, we installed large, 70-inch flat screen TVs in the foyer, new carpeting, new entranceway mats that are logoed with the Blue Night Pride on it, and it really all came together. So it totally changes the way it looks.
What's the purpose of the TVs? Because that's in each of the buildings, and I know you'll talk about that. But what was the rationale behind doing that?
Yeah, so I worked with Bryce Harper on that. Actually, it was his project, and he just asked my help with putting them up and getting them installed. And it allows the principals and the building leadership to put messages on a daily basis, and also
way to communicate.
Best way to communicate. I mean, it's right in your face. And,
as you walk in.
From the first day, I have a kindergartner at Forestdale. We went to the play date. They had the Forestdale kindergarten play date, and it's the first thing parents notice when they walk in. This 70-inch TV. So welcome kindergartners.
There you go.
Go into the multi-purpose room. Go to your kid's classroom. I mean, it was easy way to communicate with large groups of people.
And we can program anything we want on
they look great, and we can do positive messaging through different pictures from events and things like that. So, and it really does give a facelift to the building. So we installed those in all 3 schools.
That's great.
Oak Ridge, Forestdale. Impossible to miss when you walk into any of the schools.
True.
They're there and they're active, and we're messaging right now.
Right.
So then once we finished the high school with the painting, we moved on to Forestdale and Oak Ridge. And it was a cookie cutter, exact same job at both of those buildings. We did all of the exterior. They're brick buildings, but all of the facades around the entrance doors are all. To say that the paint was rotted was beyond. It was beyond its lifespan. So we changed the color scheme at those schools to kind of give it a little pop, and we repainted all of the exterior at Forestdale, Oak Ridge. And we also did the portables, which were some carpentry repairs and repainting. they look awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they came out great, and they don't truly show their age anymore, which is something that we wanted to clean up a little bit and make it look a little bit better. And also with the School for Early Learning at Forestdale, like a lot of those parents are dropping their kids off there, gives them a little sense of pride in that building, which I think is important.
So absolutely.
And they really appreciated it.
They're our future Blue Knights.
Yeah, they are. So it gives them a sense of pride. So we got that accomplished, all the painting done. That took about a month and a half this summer. Other improvements that we looked at were we redid the locker rooms at SHS here were a mess.
Needed.
Yeah, especially the boys' locker room. It was horrible. The smell in there could kill a cat. So and there was also some sightline issues with the lockers. A majority of the lockers were failed. They were from 20, 30 years ago.
And that happens in old schools.
They were steel lockers and they had failed. So we pulled all of the lockers out in the center area of the locker room and replaced it with 4-foot-high PVC lockers, which are really top of the line.
And should last forever, right?
Yeah, they're simple and they're definitely a better look than the steel. They're smaller and it allows so being that they're 4 foot and not the 6-foot lockers, it allows staff in the locker rooms to be able to security. They can see if there's somebody doing something they're not supposed to be doing, and it helps us with everything security-wise in those areas. So that's a huge improvement.
Right.
We painted all the team locker rooms as well. So we not only replaced the lockers, but we repainted the entire facility. So that helped a lot with the smell.
It's the lipstick on the pig, as they say, right? It just makes it look better and people feel better.
No, it's important. It really needed to be done. That, along with we did a lot of doors repairs over the district. We had a company come in and assess all of our interior doors where we were having problems, and they did a lot of repairs. And then the last thing we did here at the high school was, when the students enter the cafeteria in the back where they get dropped off in the morning, we have like a patio area where they used to have lunch outside. And through time, it was a brick steps that went down into this little concourse area. And the bricks had deteriorated and fallen apart, and the students were not able to use that area. They weren't able to have outdoor access during lunch.
Right.
So we came in. We have an in-staff concrete expert.
That's fantastic.
So we were fortunate enough to have him help us out. Doug helped us put that all together, and we poured a new concrete step this summer. So now, first day of school, the kids can utilize that area. We put some picnic tables out there.
It's just a nice ad for a kid.
It is. It's nice to be able to get outside.
Absolutely,
especially,
anytime.
This time of year.
Yeah.
So that finished up what we got accomplished at the high school here. When we look at Forestdale and Oak Ridge, we did the painting that I discussed, and then we also looked at carpeting. My predecessor had started, and I just continued with the carpets. Just keep
every year.
We did as much as we can afford, basically.
I'd love to do them all at once, but that's not reality.
Yeah, it's hard when some of them desperately need it, but there's some that are worse than others.
Yes.
If you're at Forestdale, you'll notice we did the front office. That's an area that is horrible. It was a mess. So we redid the carpeting in the front office, put in carpet tile. It looks awesome.
And it smells like a new building.
So it might be a little aggressive, but next summer I'm hoping to do the libraries at both Forestdale and Oak Ridge. Those carpets are absolutely destroyed.
20 years or so of kids crawling all over them at that age group.
There's one entrance to the library at both of those schools, and the carpet is down to like concrete. So we're the ambitious part of that is moving all of those books.
That's true.
So we'll get it done next summer. So, like I said, that's just a little bit of the work we've got it done. Very critical that the town continues to fund us with this $125,000. Hopefully, maybe even a little bit more. And without that money, we're dead in the water. So this really helps.
Well, that's the important thing. It's again, our job is to take care of these buildings as much as we possibly can. I've been saying that since day one I've got here. I think that's our responsibility. But it comes with a little bit of a cost, and we have to. Our goal is to not have to replace the buildings.
Yep.
And if we can keep maintaining these things the way we're supposed to, then we'll make them last as long as possible. And I think that's really important.
It is. Yeah, and that's where I put my focus. So.
All right.
Sounds good.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for watching. Our next podcast, as I said, we'll get into a little bit more of the teaching and learning. I think in episode 3, what I'll be doing is doing a little bit of an overview of our goals this year on the curriculum side and what we're doing within the classrooms. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, Sandwich.